Greetings, God's beloved. Welcome to the end of another week of devotions. So today we have Psalm 50. As I said in yesterday's devotion, a third of the way through the Psalter. So it begins. The mighty one, God the Lord, speaks and summons the earth. From the rising of the sun to its setting, and out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth. Our God comes and does not keep silence. Before him is a devouring fire and a mighty tempest all around him. He calls to the heavens above and to the earth that he may judge his people. Gather to me, my faithful ones, who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens declare his righteousness, for God himself is judge. Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, I will testify against you. I am God, your God, Not for your sacrifices do I rebuke you. Your burnt offerings are continually before me. I will not accept a bull from your house or goats from your folds. For every wild animal of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the air, and all that moves in the field is mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world and all that it is mine. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer to God a sacrifice of thanksgiving and pay your vows to the Most High. Call on me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me. But to the wicked, God says, what right have you to recite my statutes, or take my covenant on your lips? For you hate discipline, and you cast my words behind you. You make friends with a thief when you see one, and you keep company with adulterers. You give your mouths free rein for evil, and your tongue frames deceit. You sit and speak against your kin. You slander your own mother's child. These things you have done, and I have been silent. You thought that I was one just like yourself, but now I rebuke you and lay the charge before you. Mark this, then, you who forget God, or I will tear you apart, and there will be no one to deliver. Those who bring thanksgiving as their sacrifice honor me. To those who go to the right way, I will show the salvation of God. So this psalm was likely a psalm that was written for a time when they would have been renewing their covenant, the agreement between God and the people of Israel, that he would be their God and provide for them and give them land and protect them, and they would be his people and honor and worship only him. And we know that didn't always happen. That wasn't always the case, but a big part of that covenant was, like I said, the sacrifice, and that was the bringing of animals to the temple to sacrifice them, to worship God. It's basically how that was done. And when there's something like that attached to our relationship with God, that it's easy to see how that could sometimes become the thing. That it's just doing the things, doing the right rituals or whatever is what puts us in a right relationship and satisfies God and placates God and makes him happy with us, that he just wants us to do the right stuff. But here you hear a rebuke that they were not doing those things with the right heart. They were hanging out with the wrong kind of people, and they were treating God as if he were one of the pagan gods for whom the people outside of Israel worshipped. Quite often their sacrifices were to provide them with food. It was thought that those gods needed human beings to actually and literally feed them. Where God says, I don't need any of this stuff. All of it is mine. If I wanted it, I would take it my own. God doesn't need us, doesn't need anything from us, and doesn't need us to do things to make him happy or to placate him. He's happy with us as we are. But the one thing that God can't take from us or doesn't get from us unless we freely give it to him, and that's our heart, and that's where that place of thanksgiving comes from. And it's the recognition and realization that all of God's blessings are given in the fullness of his grace, and our response to that should be done with thanksgiving, of living a life that praises and worships and glorifies him because of all that he's done for us. If we do those things with the right heart, God is pleased, God is glorified, God is praised and is magnified. If we're just going through the motions and we think that's going to be enough to please God, then those people who are doing that are going to be sorely disappointed when it comes time to stand before the one who is the righteous judge as this psalm makes note of. It's just not about doing those things. It's who you hang out with, how you live your life, who you love, how you love them, how you see yourself, and how you see the world is what God desires from us. And it's a hard thing to do. But it comes from that place where remembering all that God has done for us. At the very end of the psalm, the psalmist gives us a little bit of something as a kind of a quote from God. For those who bring thanksgiving as their sacrifice, honor me. To those who go the right way, I will show the salvation of God. It's when we do those right things. It's when we are obedient to God. When it's when our heart has been given to Him. That's when God reveals Himself most often, most frequently, and most powerfully in our lives. It is a connection between us and God that comes through that honoring and glorifying Him in our life through prayer, through sacrifice, through offering, all done, as the New Testament would say, God loves a cheerful giver. Loves when we give from our heart, regardless of what it is. And think of the old woman who gave just a penny in the temple compared to the Pharisee who dropped his handful of coins in the offering plate. God says she gave everything to Him. It's not about keeping count or keeping track or quantity. It's about the quality of what we do. And God deserves that from us. If you want to see God in ways that are powerful and reveal Himself to you in ways that are noticeable, it's being mindful of and giving God your heart completely and fully as much as we can. So those are devotions for the end of the week. I hope you have a chance to enjoy worship tomorrow. And then we'll do this again on Monday as we start that week with Psalm 51. Until then, be well.